So, welcome to your introductory geography lecture. We'll begin with some basics. Firstly, we learn by studying geography. Well, we learn a great deal about all the processes that have affected and that continue to affect the Earth's surface. But we learn far more than that, because studying geography also informs us about the different kinds of relationships that develop between particular environment and the people that live there. Okay, we like to think of geography as having two main branches. The study of the nature of our planet. Its physical features, what it actually look like, and then there is a study of ways in which we choose to live and of the impact of those on the planet. Our current use of carbon fuels is a good example for that. But there are more specific study areas to consider too, and we'll be looking at each of these in turn throughout this semester. These include biophysical geography, by which I mean the study of the nature, environment, and all its living things. Then there is topography just look at the shape of the land and oceans. There is study of political geography and social geography too, of course, which is study of communities of people. We have economic geography, in which we examine all kinds of resources and just use agriculture for example. Next comes historical geography, the understanding of how people and their environments and the way they interact have changed over a period of time. And urban geography, an aspect I'm particularly interested in. We take as its focus the location of cities, the services that those cities provide, and migration of people to from success city, migration of people to and from such cities. And lastly, we have a cartography, that is the art and science of map making. You'll be doing a lot of that. So to summarize before we continue, we now have our key answer. Studying this subject is important because without geographical knowledge, we would know very little about our surroundings, and we won't be able to identify all the problems that relate to them. So, by definition, we wouldn't be an informed position to work out how to solve any of them. Okay, now for some practicalities. What do geographers actually do? Well, we collect data to begin with. You will be doing a lot of that on first field trip. How do we do this? There are several means. We might, for example, conduct census, cow population in a given area, perhaps. We also need image of Earth surface, which we can produce by means of computer generation technology, or with the help of satellite lines. We will come a very long way from the earlier exploration of the world by sailing ships, when geographers only have space and paper at their disposal. After we gather our information, we must analyze it. We need to look for patterns, most commonly those of causes and consequences. This kind of information helps us to predict and resolve problems that could be affect the world we live in. But we don't keep all this information confidential. We then need to publish our findings so that other people can access it and be informed by it. And one way in which this information can be published in the form of maps. You will have used one at some you will all have used one at some stage of your life already. Let's consider the benefits of maps from geographer perspective. Geographer's perspective. Maps can be folded and put in bulk, and can provide a great store of reference when they're coded into an atlas. They can depict physical features of the entire planet if necessary, or that small part of it are much greater detail. But there is a drawback. You can't exactly replicate something that is three-dimensional like our planet on a flat pieces of paper, because paper has only two dimensions, and that means there has always been a certain degree of distortion on the map. It can be avoided. We can also use aerial photographs, pictures taken by camera at a high altitude above the Earth. They are great for showing all kinds of geographical features that are not easy to see from the ground. You can easily illustrate areas of disease trees, or how much traffic is on the road at a given time, or information about deep sea beds, for example. Then there are landscapes. There are satellites that circle the Earth and transmit visual information to the computer as a representation. They circle the Earth several times a day and can provide a much information. You will be familiar with information they give us about the weather, for example. So what we are going to do is looking at the short. So we are going to do now is look at the short presentation in which you will see all these tools